Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Ben Hales with Transform My Poker, and today I'm going to be discussing what to do when you get 3-bet. Not the most pleasant experience being 3-bet, is it? And you're immediately being put under some pressure in the pot, and your expectation in the pot when you've been 3-bet plummets. So in general, we all lose money when we are 3-bet. So we have every right to feel quite annoyed when we're 3-bet. So if you're feeling frustrated and annoyed by being 3-bet, that's fine. I would say it would be unnatural not to feel that. What remains is how are we going to react when we have been 3-bet? How can we make the most of what is ultimately a bad situation? Okay, and that's what I'm going to take you through now. Have you ever had that feeling when you get 3-bet and you think, okay, I don't believe this guy, I'm just going to gamble, and you basically you're taking away all rationality from the situation. You're letting your emotions take control, and you're making a decision based on that, and that obviously is not a good thing. So the first bit of advice I've got on this is to just try and just hold it together. All right, you're being put under some pressure, and when we're under pressure, we're liable to give in to our emotions and allow them to interfere with our decision making process. So we've got to try and be rational. Try not to fall to bits. I'm going to take you through a questioning drill which will help you to be more logical. All right, so this is what I tend to do. Okay, you don't have to follow this precisely. You can amend it, take bits out, add bits according to the way you want to think this through, what seems logical to you. This is just a suggestion, okay? I start off, and I very often start off with this question, but what's my opponent's range? In this case for 3-betting, but actually in any decision that I'm making is quite often the first question I will go to. And it may have sub questions. So you may want to ask, okay, what position's he in? What type of profile does my opponent have? Do I if I'm playing online, do I have his 3-betting statistic, right? Because that would be useful for answering this question. But there's going to be lots of bits of information that will go into answering this, and so you may want to build a whole set of sub questions that feed into this to help give you the answer. But ultimately, what we're trying to do is work out, is our opponent 3-betting just 2%, 3% of hands? Some people do. Are they more balanced? Are they 5, 6, 7%? More kind of normal? Or are they more modern? Are they 3-betting quite loose with a 10% or even more? And once we've worked that out, we're going to be in a much better position to respond to the 3-bet. Okay? This may be complicated for you. If you're not used to thinking in ranges, this may seem difficult. You've got an area you can work on. You can start improving your knowledge of ranges, and it's going to really help you to deal with this type of situation. The second thing I want to know is a lot more basic. It's just how many players are active in the hand. If there's just 2 of us, then I kind of feel it's a lot simplified, the decision is a lot more simplified. But if there's more people involved, I might need to do a little bit more work with my brain. And I'm also going to be thinking about lots of other factors here, so pot odds, precise positions of the players, if it's a tournament, what's the situation. There is a lot more than just this, but when I'm responding to a 3-bet specifically, these are the things I want to know. So first of all, what's the 3-better's range, and then who else is involved, and then the third point, position. So I want to know specifically, do I have position on the 3-better? Because that's drastically going to change the way I respond. If I'm out of position, I'm going to be folding very frequently and four betting some of the time. I'm not going to be calling very often at all, almost never. Um, when I'm in position, my calling range is going to increase and my four bet range is going to decrease and my folding range will decrease slightly. So the way I'm going to respond to the three bet is going to depend on my relative position. Now the fourth point, and the fifth point as well at the same time, that was a surprise. The fourth point is to consider exactly which hands from my range I intend to four bet, fold, or call with. And so this is a specific and difficult and advanced point. And this may be beyond you right now. If it is, don't worry about it. Focus on question number one. Just try and get that done. That's massive. If you can even get question number one done, you're going to be improving. But this is more advanced. Number four, I'm thinking about the hands I originally raised with and dividing it up into sections. So the bottom half, maybe even a bit more than half, I'm probably going to be folding, because usually that's the right response to a three bet. So with the majority of my raising range, I'm going to be throwing away. Sometimes maybe 2/3 of it. And then there's going to be the next bit, where I may or may not continue. That's the difficult bit. And then there's the top bit with my best hands, where I'm clearly going to be four betting or calling. And it's important to keep this balance, and to be able to visualize it is really, really useful. And I recommend it if you have got a range tool like Equilab. You can look on it and see which of the hands you're going to put into which sections, and which are in A, which are in B, which are in C. It's a good exercise, and I recommend doing it. You could take someone three betting you in different situations and practice dividing up your response. That way, when you're actually at the table, whether you're playing live or whether you're playing online, you're going to be faster and you're going to understand the decision more. So you can actually focus on other things, because all of this starts to become auto, right? You've already made the decision by practicing it. Point number 5 is just an extension of point number 4, very advanced. You can skip it. You don't need to worry about this. But for those of you who do know about balancing ranges, then this is kind of like checking up on yourself, making sure that your frequencies for four betting, folding, and calling, like we just described in point number 4, that they all fit together nicely. I'm happy that from my raising range, I'm going to be folding 60% of them to a 3-bet. I'm going to be continuing with the other 40%. If that's the kind of frequency I've got and that's what I'm happy with, I would describe myself as being balanced. If I'm finding that I'm folding out 90% of my hands, then I'm unbalanced. And that's when I'll sort of rethink my pre-flop raising range to make sure that I'm not getting exploited by 3-betters. Let me go through one example hand and we'll do this together. Here's my example hand, Ace King of Clubs in the cutoff, 6 max SNG. I have 43 big blinds raising it up, and there's a 3-bet from the button. Initial limper calls, giving me nice pot odds for staying involved. However, let's go through the 5-point process. So first of all, what's his range, the 3-better? I think his range here is quite narrow. His 3-bet stat says 5.5%. It's rare that a player would 3-bet this early in the tournament without a strong hand. So I'm thinking probably Ace King aces, kings, queens, jacks. 2.5%, 3%. I'm not doing very well against that range. And actually, my decision pretty much ends there. I just don't see that I'm doing well enough against his range. Even though I've got good pot odds, even though the other player involved is loose, and I may be getting really nice expected value against him, I just don't want to bust out of this tournament too soon. So I can pretty much fold right now. If we go through the 5-point process, though, the extra player complicates things, probably makes this a slightly sweeter situation. The third point is that I'm out of position on the 3-better, and that means that calling here is less attractive because I'm going to be out of position post flop. It is somewhat simplified by the fact that I'm either going to hit an ace or a king on the flop, or I'm not. So I think there is a case for calling here. But personally, I tend to choose 4-bet or fold whenever I'm 3-bet out of position. The fourth point is to discuss what hands in my initial raising range am I going to be continuing with. I mean, if I'm not continuing with that ace king suited, am I balanced? And the answer is no, I am not balanced. And I understand that I'm not balanced here, but I don't believe that the players around me are exploiting me. Therefore, I'm going to continue to play with an unbalanced range. So I'm going to be folding far too often in this spot. And I assume that my opponents, when they're 3-betting, are going to have really narrow ranges. Therefore, I'm just going to proceed with a strategy of folding out most of my hands against a 3-bet and 4-betting or calling with only aces, kings, maybe queens. That is too narrow. Yeah, it's definitely too narrow. But it's an adjustment based on my understanding of my opponents. So I fold out, and the two players go head to head, and we can see there's one very, very loose player hits top pair, and the 3-better had pocket kings. That's all from me. If you like this video, please do the Facebook like thing, add your comments, share it, put questions, I'll try and answer them. Thanks very much for listening. My name is Ben Hales with Transform My Poker.